Hi, this is Ben from Venturay Productions, and this is a tutorial on the particle simulator in Blender. I'm not going to be doing a huge, a whole lot of things with it, just messing around with it really. But yeah, basically, I was on Video Copilot the other day because I'm working on these music videos. You know my name, Chris Cornell, and Madness from Muse's new album, which came out last week. Well, hey, or yeah, sorry, that was really exciting when it came out. And one of the tracks, Madness, I just thought, I love this. I'm gonna have to make a music video out of this. So I went on Video Copilot, and I found this, and I thought I really want to do this, but I looked at it before and I already knew that you need trapcode particular to be able to do that. Video Copilot, by the way, for those who don't know, for in terms of After Effects stuff, it's heaven. It's absolutely brilliant. You can with the tutorials on here, you can pretty much do everything on After Effects, assuming you have all the right plugins, which I obviously don't. So coming onto Blender to try and do something similar, and I was messing around and I found something. So let's just go on into cycles and from the default setup scene. We don't need that, we don't need that, but we do need this. So we'll just keep that there as we make a new circle. That's Shift A, by the way. I'm just going to assume for the most part that you know how to navigate Blender. Rotate X90 and just stick that right there. View, camera, active camera. If you have a numpad, you press 0 on the numpad, but I don't, so I have to do it this way. And if you're on a trackpad, press and hold Alt while moving 2 fingers around on the trackpad. This works from Mac only as far as I'm aware. Just leave a keyframe there for rotation, location, rotation, I don't really know. Just move this down a bit and up a bit, and just move it this way and down more and a wee bit more up. Okay, that should do it. End frame 160 right there. So we've got this camera movement here, and that's going to be our particles are going to go into here. So without further ado, I can't believe I just said that. Let's get going. Right, here is our emitter. Just a simple circle object which is not going to be in shot. This is going to be our emitter. And the first thing we're going to do is go into this tab here, and this tab here looks kind of like 4 shiny stars. I'm on Blender 2.63, by the way, 2.6 essentially. So just plus there, and we have made a particle system, and by hitting Alt A you can see that it's a pretty feeble dribble of particles that stops there and is not very fascinating in the slightest. So first thing we're going to do, scroll down here to the field weights and turn off gravity. So it won't go down, it'll just go straight forwards. What else can we do? Obviously it's not moving fast enough, so under the velocity tab here we're just going to crank up the velocity to 13, looks fine. Maybe even 10. We don't want it to be too fast so they don't come shooting out like a rocket. That looks about good. Okay. Then we're gonna, well, we've got our particles here, so we're gonna press Shift A, and make a force field. We're gonna use the turbulence force field. So Alt A this time to pause the video, or you can click down here on the pause sign because that becomes a pause sign. Go to the front, set keyframe, actually just move this up, set a keyframe, and go to the end and set another keyframe. And if you want to just, so we've got our motion here, it just moves like that with the camera almost. Now you'll start to notice that the stream particles has become a bit more turbulent, and I don't really know why, but that only works when the turbulence empty, because it looks like an empty, is moving, and it only works in that one scenario. So we need to obviously adjust this, because this looks nothing like this. Okay, hi, welcome back. I just took a 20-minute break messing around trying to get the effect that I want, and I've nailed it, kind of. So here's my setup. I actually ended up putting the turbulence behind the emitters, because I figured that gave the most streamlined effect. So there were no mad sprays going on. The stream was never broken. And I actually made 3 emitters in the end. One regular emitter, which I think is this one, and then 2 strong emitters. And I'll just give you the value. So this turbulence, by the way, is just moving very gently behind them, very subtly. So on all 3, the velocity is up to 15 now, and on the regular emitter, turbulence is at 21. My bad. Turbulence is at 21 on all 3. So actually that doesn't look too bad. Actually I might as well just rename them. Emitter 1, emitter 2, capital E, and emitter 3. Okay. I thought that this first one was not as powerful as the others in terms of how much turbulence it was receiving, but it turned out to be because they're all using the same particle settings. So hold on, if I just give this a name, waveform, all 3 have updated to waveform. So this is where we're at. Camera's moving, it looks very cool. If I just highlight everything, you can clearly see those particles, and it's very fluid, it's very cool, and that's what we're going to work with. Now, there's a slight problem here, which is that I want to have some of these. Whoa, dude. Yeah. Okay. I want to have some of these particles different colors, and I want all 3 streams seen here to be a different color, but at the moment they're all using the same system. So I'm gonna have to you know, redo the system on each. But first things first, let's just get the basics done first for each of them, and then I only need to copy and paste, and I only have to you know, redo the systems only once. So here's what we're going to do. Shift A, add a sphere mesh on wireframe mode. Just hit toggle Z to come out in and out of wireframe mode. So this is going to be the particle shape. Just going to stick this over here behind the camera. We do not want that in shot, but it's got to exist, because we're going to tell these emitters to make the particles look like this. But there's something else we have to do first. So while we are on the sphere, go to materials, add a new material, call this yellow, because we're going to make this emitter yellow. Sorry, we're going to make the particles yellow. And what I'm going to do is click on emission, and in cycles render, this particular type of material is it emits light, so it's a light emitter material, and that's also useful if you you have an object and you want to green screen it. The easiest way to do that is to just make a large plane, send it off way into the distance, make it huge, so that it fills the screen, and then just give it an emission material, because then I'll just show you right now. If we go into materials mode, it's all one solid block of color. There's no depth at all. It's equally lit everywhere. So you know, if you want to green screen a material, that's the route I would take, instead of making a whole bunch of different emission panels and then trying to light your green screen. It's just much easier to make the green screener light itself. I used that very recently for my Slenderman video, which is here, Slenderman Scenarios Blender 2.63. So that's going to be one of the spheres which we'll be using. When we finish, we're going to have 3, so I'm just going to make those 3 now. So this is going to be, let's just call this first one sphere Y for yellow. Second sphere is going to be blue, and the third is going to be green. So sphere Y, G and B for yellow, green and blue. And now we have to obviously update all these materials, but you'll notice if I just go onto the green sphere, for example, and tell it to become green, all 3 will become green. And that's because at the moment they're all sharing the same material, so we have to remove that material, add a new one, add a new material, make it green, call this green, and just go back to yellow, which is already called yellow, and take off the yellow material. And again, on the blue sphere you want to add a new one, make it blue, something like that. So I'm going to go for a very turquoisey kind of look here. So yeah, I'm just going to make this kind of bluey green. Yeah, that'll do. Just strength. Strength means strength of the emit. So at the moment that basically is blue. So I'm just going to okay. So those are our spheres, and just pick a color at random, yellow. Right, let's go into emitter 1, and this is going to be our yellow emitter. So we're going to change the name from waveform to yellow. And down here in just above field weights is the render panel, and we're going to change that to object, duplicate object, sphere, yellow. And instantly you'll see that the particles are now the shapes of these spheres. Obviously they're a lot smaller, but the shape is variable. We can make massive spheres if we want to, but for now we're just going to go with a small size, which is 0.01. We're just going to stick with that for the rest of the tutorial. So here's our yellow stream, but you can see now that there's spaces in between each, which is a lot more apparent now that the spheres are actually smaller. It's created more space in between them. So to fix this, we're just going to turn the emission up to 10,000 just to fill the gaps. And actually that didn't really do the trick. So we're just gonna, okay, let's just go all out. 40,000. Nothing's happening. I'll just render a few frames. It's very slow now, because when you think about it, Blender is having to calculate the paths of around 3 times 4, about that's 12, right? Yeah, 12,000 120,000 particles are in the simulation now. So don't be surprised if the frame rate drops significantly. And that gives me the effect I'm looking for. The streams are now one solid line, but for editing purposes that's a bit too slow, so we're just going to take it back down to 5,000 just temporarily. Render those back out. Okay. Now we need to just go on to emitter 2. Let's say this is going to become our red, or sorry, we're not using red, we're using blue. Okay, this is going to be a blue emitter. So we'll just memorize all these values here. 5,000, lifetime at 60, 15, small size, and 21. Okay. Alright, get rid of that particle system, add a new one, and just before anything else, let's type in all of the values to make it work exactly the same. Gravity to 0, turbulence 21, object, sphere blue, size all the way down. That should be everything, and we'll just call this blue. If we render that, it is, for reasons best known to Blender, sending particles shooting off in the wrong direction. Here we go. Okay. Velocity. What was velocity? Around 15, I think. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. There we go. That's that one, and then we'll just go on to the third sphere. I don't know why this is missing its particle system. Something going wrong? Ah, sphere. Right. We want emitter 3. This is going to become our green emitter. So we'll get rid of that. Add one in. Call it green. And we'll make it 5,000 for now. 60,000 over here. Sorry, just 60. 15. Scroll down. Turn gravity off. Turbulence up to 21. Object, and this is pretty cool because you can see live as all the changes take place. We'll just make that green. And then we'll take that all the way down. Okay. We have our particles, different colors. Let's just hop into the camera view for a moment or two and see what this looks like. Just press Alt A to pause animation. And with cycles you can actually view things live. So just actually, to emphasize the glow which we'll be putting onto these, we'll just turn the world settings all the way down, and by that I mean the brightness all the way down, so we have something that looks like this. And I'm not so sure about this yellow stream, it's a little bit too vivid, so I might just, the heck, yeah, just make it a much more mild yellow, and that'll be fine for what we're doing. Okay, so that's that. We're just gonna exit this mode. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change the I'm gonna switch the green emitter with the yellow. So we're just gonna select yellow on there, and emitter 1, which is on yellow anyway, we're just gonna select green. Okay. Back in solid mode, which is where all the editing happens, we are now going to do what exactly? We've got our particles. Yeah?
Do you know where the sleeping bag is?
Try Dad's cupboard.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. My sister there, Sarah, she's very cool. She's got a fashion blog. I don't know what it's called. She's been changing. Sorry? Okay, that wasn't for me. So, I reckon now is the time for compositing. Yeah. Okay. We're just gonna render the image, and what this is gonna do is the integrator down here shows us what the render settings are going to be like in cycles. Oh, we're just going to change that to QuickTime for later. We're not doing that now. Okay. Integrator cycles basically works by calculating light paths. These numbers here are samples, and the higher the amount of samples, the more light bounces or paths or whatever it is it calculates, and the more of these, the better the final render is going to look. Because we're not going to have any kind of background of any sort, that's going to be fine right there. So we'll probably leave it at 10 for the final. And anyways, that'll make the rendering super fast, because we're supposed to use the graphics card for cycling rendering, but Mac users can't use that. For PC users, go find your own how to do it. I can't be bothered. I'm not showing that today. So here we have the node editor. We go down here, this switch over here, you click node editor, and then you come over to this third. It'll be on material by default. Click on the third, which kind of looks like a light switch. Tick use nodes, which will defaultly be unticked, and then you will have here your input and your output. If your input image doesn't appear there, then just click down here, render layer. It's kind of a refresh equivalent. So Shift A, filter, clear. This is going to be what we're going to use to make our animation look awesome. So we're going to start off with a fog glow. Make the size max. You can't make it any bigger than 9, even if you type an image, even if you type a number. So if I go 20, enter, it'll always come back down to 9. Turn the threshold all the way down. See what that does. Compositing. Okay. It's glowing. Okay. We'll just Shift D that. Put another one there. See what that does. That looks pretty cool, but just change that to 0.5. Yeah, okay, maybe even 0.9, or just threshold to 1. The higher the threshold is, the smaller the glow will be. So I think now we're just gonna add in one more, and this one's gonna be streaks. So look a little bit like that to start with. That's not what I'm looking for, so just turn the fade down, the iterations up to 3, and we'll just turn the streaks down to 3 as well. And the fade is still too high for my liking. Cheeky fade. And it looks kind of like we got a whole bunch of little stars here, but it, once we turn up the number of particles per emitter up to 40,000 and they become a straight line, it'll look a little bit less corny or pixie dusty. So and that's basically what our compositing does. Just puts on some lens flares. And I'm gonna actually, I think I want a little bit more depth in here, so I'm just gonna zoom out a bit. I'm going to copy this by Shift D and just move it down there. This is what I mean, you just have to click render layers and refresh that. Move all this stuff. And we'll be using mixed shader here, so that's in color. Mix, put that there, and just drag this all the way over to there. Okay. Shift A, filter, blur. And this path down here, we're just going to blur out, not so that the animation gets blurred, but simply so that we get some a little bit more light, if you like. What the heck? Well, the glow just went away. Okay. I guess we won't be doing that. So we'll just get rid of that. Right. What's going on? Compositing. Okay, I just really messed things up. I don't really know why. Okay, and we're back where we started with things. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do, these colors are looking a little bit too vivid for me, so I'm just going to add a color hue and saturation value. I'm just going to turn the saturation down a little bit. That's compositing there. Get a little bit up. And brightness contrast. Put in some contrast. Crank that up a little bit. I'm just experimenting here. Those are pretty fun. I found them really intimidating to start with, but you do get used to them pretty quickly. And actually, I think I'm just gonna cut out all those glare nodes for now. Just disconnect that. And then this brightness and contrast can connect to that glare. I have no idea. This is a really messy setup, by the way. Ideally, have I just made an endless loop here? I believe I have. No, I haven't. So that connect. Okay, so this is this is an example of how you shouldn't do nodes. I'm just gonna rearrange these. So that's the last one. This is the first one. That goes there. And my God, this is confusing. Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on. So that's the second last one. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Threshold 0. Okay, we'll just settle with that for now. 0.3. Yeah, okay, that's cool. So this is what we've got here. Very cool. Let's exit out of the UV image editor, which by the way comes out automatically every time you click either of these two buttons. Back to solid mode, change this to timeline. I'll just save this actually. Tutorial. There we go. Save. Excuse me. Right. I've completely forgotten what to do next. Okay. The next step, if I believe, is to add depth of field to things. Yeah, that's right. So Shift A, empty. This is just to make your image a little bit more cinematic when you're happy with the final result. So Alt A, so it plays real time. And go into your active camera view, and then just move this up into the particle stream at some point. This has got to be in the particle stream. That is essential. And just move it down to where you'd like your focus to be. So for me, that's going to be right there. And we're just going to call this focus target. Focus target. Focus target. Okay. Camera. Go into the camera settings. Scroll down. And under depth of field, this little material here, just click there and select focus target. Now your camera is going to focus to that. We're going to need to be in, just pause it for a second. We're going to have to be in rendered mode now, because that's the only place where the depth of field is actually going to show. So here's what we have now. This is without the compositing, by the way. And a pretty cool thing about the rendered mode and cycles is that in real time you can spin the camera around and look at stuff and kind of confused. I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, you can move around in real time and see your animations in real time in Blender cycles. And at the moment it's just the preview is at a max of 10 samples, as you can see up here. If you just hit 0 on there, it'll rack up continuously. And I just prefer to do that because I mean, it's a decent laptop enough that even if when it is doing this, you can still do other things without major lagging. So, you know, if you're just talking like I am now, idle, the quality of the image is just going to get better and better and better. But because this is a really simple image, we're just going to cap it at 50. So, radius, just to show you how sensitive this is, I'm going to type in 5. One would think 5 is a perfectly average value, right? Not so much. Okay, even at 1, it's extremely sensitive and uses a lot of that detail that you're previously experimenting with. Even at 0.5, it's a bit over the top. So we're just going to make this 0.05, and that is going to give you a very subtle look, just a tiny bit of the depth of field that you want. Actually, I'm not totally sure. Right, okay, I'm just going to make a keyframe for the location, and I'm going to move to the front of the timeline, because at this point I think the camera is further down the y-axis. So the focus target might be on the very end, which is... Huh? What? Oh, I see. I need to go forward enough for the particles to be coming in. Oh, okay, that's no problem. I can just undo the making of that keyframe then. That's a very useful thing about Blender. Whenever you click something or move along the timeline, even if you just click on something, that is counted as an edit. So if you click on the wrong thing, you don't need to unclick it and then click something else. You can just undo it. You can undo your click and then move on. Yeah, so even now I think the focus target is just a little bit too close to the camera, so I'm just going to move it down the y-axis a little way. Around about there should be good. And yeah, that's looking fine. You just got a tiny bit of depth of field in the end here, which is exactly what I was looking for. So now the only stage that really remains is the worst and the most painful stage, which takes absolutely ages. That would be rendering. Because I'm on a Mac, and Macs don't have the piece of software needed to be able to make cycles render with the graphics card, that's GPU, instead of CPU, it works really slowly, because cycles would go super fast on the graphics card, but you know, like I just said, Macs don't have the software, so that always takes a really long time. Hopefully they're working on a version of Blender that Macs can render on the graphics card, because that'll speed things up so much. But for now, meh. Just click on there. This is, by the way, that was in the render settings output. So just call this particle waveform, except QuickTime overwrite. Yeah, that looks about right. Render 10. Normally that is not going to be anywhere near enough samples for cycles. You just end up getting a horribly spotty, grainy image. But because I'm only rendering materials with the emit value, I'm not actually needing to calculate what happens when light bounces off other objects, which is fantastic, because it basically means that I'm not going to need any more samples than 10, really. That'll just be absolutely fine, but just to be sure. Okay, I'll just click emitter 1, 40,000, emitter 2, 40,000, emitter 3, 40, 1, 2, 3,000. Okay. I think that's ready to roll. So yeah, I'll just render that image as it is now. So hopefully the 40,000, the 120,000 particles going through this simulation at the moment should make those lines of particles emitted by the circles into... oh god, okay. We may need some more particles in here. Alright, I'm just gonna turn those up however far they need to be. I'll just leave a post in the description how much they actually were in the end. That's pretty much it for now. This is just a really small demonstration of the things you can do with abstract particles in Blender. You know, you've also got hair. You can do hair, and you can do smoke and fluids, and I never even looked at paint and soft body particles and cloth and pretty much everything. So you know, there's a whole load to experiment with, and so is there a lot to do in the node editor here. Yeah, I'll leave a post in the description how many particles I was having per emitter after I've rendered it out to see, you know, which one's the best. And thanks for watching. See you guys. Bye.